Rev up your engines! All right, you wonder why people buy Toyota Tacomas. This thing has over 319,000 miles, has been in a major front rack, been repaired 100-something thousand miles ago, and it still works good. How can that be? Now you can see it's made in Mexico, or I should say it was put together in Mexico. There's a big deal between putting together and building a whole car. For instance, the engine, transmission, it came from Japan. It wasn't made in Mexico. And what's under the hood? Got the ultra dependable V6 engine. These things are super dependable, and since this is a more modern one, it doesn't have timing belts, got the timing chain. All you gotta do is change the oil in it, basically. Now, 319,000 miles and a major wreck later, okay? Not only is it the same engine and transmission, but it still doesn't burn any oil. They don't make them like they used to. I see modern ones, and they'll burn maybe a quart of oil every 1,000 miles when they get older. These were actually the best things that they ever made. And they're so good that he got in a major wreck in Texas where the front was back here. And he found a guy, and the guy says, oh, I can put it back together again. And $7,000 later, now 100,000 miles plus later, it's still going down the road. The guy did a good job fixing them. Realized the guy understood one thing. This is a full frame vehicle. And the guy who did the work checked it out, and he understood, and truthfully so, the frame wasn't messed up. That's the big difference between a solid frame vehicle and a unibody. They handle better because of their design. They weigh less. When they get in a wreck, goodbye vehicle when they're that big. When they're crushed in that much in their unibody, the whole body's all messed up. They're never the same. But if you got a full frame vehicle and the frame isn't bent, everything else, you bolt things on, bolt things off, right? It can be fixed. Now, that's probably one of the reasons that they got away from full frame vehicles. One, it costs more money to make a full frame. They weigh more, worse gas mods because they have more weight. But they do have a tendency of lasting a lot longer, especially when they get in wrecks. Or if you live in northern climates where they throw salt on the road, or if you live near the salt ocean, if you've got a good coated frame and that frame is solid, it can last a long time. Once a unibody vehicle frame starts rusting, that's the end of the vehicle. Right? So they kind of like the planned obsolescence that, hey, you live in one of those areas, the car will rot away, and then you gotta buy another one. Hey, these solid frames, you take care of them, they can last forever. Now, I know Toyota had a problem with some of these frames because they were buying the frames from an American company. Big mistake. This particular one doesn't have any problems. This particular year didn't really have any problems either, so it's not something you're really gonna look at. But if a frame is made correctly, it's gonna last a lot longer, and you get in wrecks, you can fix them for quite some time. Unibody, no. Kind of like, throw it away, buy another car, right? They did a pretty good job. All that smacked up stuff, I'm trying to see if I see anything that even looks weird. They did a good job re-welding, make it look like the original weld. I gotta say, they knew what they were doing. Now, since this is a extended cab, you can see they got all their stuff here for traveling. There's room for people, nice comfy seats. And they're my favorite. I like cloth seats. They're comfy when it's hot, they're comfy when it's cold. Unlike leather, they don't crack like leather. Hey, I'm just a fan. They hold up longer. You can clean stuff off them easy with some Resolve spray and get the dirt or stains off of them. They do last longer than most other seats, especially the modern, what they call faux leather. They give it so many names. Mercedes, I guess, calls theirs Mercedes leather. Okay, it's not real leather, right? It cracks. And the fake leather, it generally cracks even faster than the real leather does. So, if you want something that's going to last a long time, get fabric seats. They're comfy, they last a long time, and you don't have to think about them. Now, it wasn't a massive wreck, but check it out. Aside from the paint coming off, these are the same rims. Look, they've been to heck and back and they're still rolling smooth, right? You can't say that about modern aluminum alloy wheels. You get in a wreck, you're gonna crack those babies. It's gonna cost you a fortune. Now, it's got enough towing power for what he uses it for, towing 5x5s and stuff. It's not a heavy duty like a Tundra with a V8 engine, but in a pinch you can pull stuff that you need to pull with because it's got the V6 engine. That's one thing. If you're looking at these, if you're serious about doing any kind of pulling or towing, don't get the 4-cylinder engine. It's underpowered for that. The 4 is perfectly fine for a knock-around truck. My daughter-in-law has one, and they use it for fixing up all their properties, hauling paint and everything, but they don't really tow anything with it. They use their other Tacoma over there. That's the one that they use to tow. It's V6 and it's a 4x4, so it won't get stuck out in the country and the land. 319,000 miles, so get the old scan tool out. See what it says. So I'll turn the key on. Well, stupid alarm systems. It already detected it. Do a standalone diagnosis, and it's read the VIN number. It knows it's Tacoma 2007, and as you can see, it does have 319,000 miles. I'll do a full scan, and while we're looking around, still in pretty good shape. No cracks on the dash. Nice basic heating and air conditioning. Hot, cold, yeah, that's what I like. I can adjust it with my finger. All right, here we go. It's got 7 codes. It's old. I'm sure a lot of stuff like the traction control, ABS may or may not work. Right front speed sensor circuit, left front speed sensor circuit. Okay, that's the front that was all smashed in. We're going to erase the codes and see if any of them come back after we take a road test. With this many miles on it, the system may have just broken down, or in the wreck it may have broken and not worked, or maybe they fixed it but they never even reset the codes. Who knows? We'll find out after a road test. Now we got airbag code SRS, passenger seat airbag active mode indicator. Well, it's still got seat belts that work. Who knows if anybody ever reset it? So we'll erase that too and see what happens after a road test. And the last thing is the tire pressure monitoring system. You never expect them to work. The batteries are certainly long dead in all the wheels unless you replace them. No data from 1, 2, 3, or 4. I'm sure the batteries went bad a long time ago. You don't want to spend money to replace them. Yeah, use a tire pressure gauge. Now we'll erase these, but I'm sure these will come back after we drive, because I'm sure they're just, the batteries are dead in all of them. When it's this many miles, the batteries just wear out. Fire her up and we'll take her for a spin. Boy, you put in a nice Alpine unit. Didn't come with that. Still idle smooth as silk. Smooth shifting transmission still. The suspension, hey, it's still in decent shape. They did a pretty good job putting the front back together. I wouldn't really have noticed it was wrecked by driving it. Here we go down to Tobacco Road. Really smooth shifting. With this many miles on it, nobody's coming, so up we go. Now it is a 6, not a 4, so it's got quite a bit more oomph, or it should at any rate. It does have 319,000 miles, so here we come to a stop. Nobody's behind us. And go! Whoa! Yeah! That's what vehicles are like before the days of everything being slowed down by traction control and all that stuff. And hey, this isn't a vehicle with 319,000 miles that still doesn't even burn oil. Now, if you're ever wondering how these things can go 1,000,000 miles and more, now you can wonder less. It's called good build quality. And this one wasn't even made in Japan, it was made in Mexico. Now, this does have a relatively aggressive tire pattern on it, so I can hear a little tire noise on it, but that's about it. Also kind of shocked at how well this thing tracks down the road, considering that the whole front end was smashed in almost all the way to the windshield. And I'll turn it off and we'll see. Did any of the codes come back? All right, here we go, fault scan. 71% done, and none of them came back. So here we have it, a vehicle with 319,000 miles, still runs like new, burns rubber. The front used to be here when it was in a wreck, put back together again, and it still runs this good. Now, personally, I doubt that even the modern Toyotas will never make it to this level of mileage and time, because their dynamic force engine has 2 fuel injection systems, GDI injectors with 1,000-something PSI. These injectors are like 45 PSI, a lot less pressure. Stuff is going to break, a lot more plastic on the modern ones. I doubt if they'll last as long as these old ones do. But you can see, if you got a body on frame, even in a wreck, you fixed it. Something like this shows you how Toyotas can go 1,000,000 miles. They were so well made. Still doesn't burn oil at 319,000 miles. Now, Honda makes pretty good vehicles, or at least they used to, right? But I've never seen a Honda that had 300,000 miles with a V6 engine that wasn't burning oil. This baby isn't, because that was really the pinnacle of Toyota's engineering in these things. They don't make them like they used to, and just think, they won't have V6 engines anymore. They're pulling them out of these cars and going to turbo 4s, and I guarantee you when they get old, they'll burn oil, the turbos will break. It'll be a rat's nest to fix them when they break. When this is still a relatively simple vehicle to fix. If it ever does break down, it hasn't broken down on him yet for 319,000 miles, so that's saying a lot. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.